Hi, Chelsea. I'm having trouble with YouTube, and the only way that I can get it to work is vis-a-vis my iPhone, and I can't figure out how to put the camera on me, but that's okay. So I think you're familiar with my process. What I do is I read it, and then I start talking about it. So here's what I always tell people to do. Just sit back, no anything. Just sit and listen. And what I want you to do is listen for story. And at the end of it, I want you to ask yourself, did I get enough? Okay, here we go. Dear Agent's name, after years of being bullied at school and taunted for his unusual name, Ashley is eager to escape his life on Earth, even if it means facing the unknown dangers of the cosmos. In The Captain and the Boy, Beyond the Cosmic Horizon, a fantasy adventure for upper middle grade, Ashley Porter, our 13-year-old protagonist, takes a leap of faith, joining a mysterious sailor known only as the Captain on board his mystical flying ship for a thrilling journey through the universe. Ashley and the Captain soar from every exciting world to the next, meeting new friends including Nova, a powerful star maiden who stows away on board their ship, as well as dangerous enemies like Maelstrom, space pirate, gun for hire, and captain of fearsome Iron Fist. When a supposed ally discovers Nova is a star, he is overcome by greed for her rare and prized power and betrays the captain and his young crew. Ashley and Nova must escape his clutches as well as outwit and outtrace the murderous Maelstrom and his evil henchmen, who are sent to recapture them. Unfortunately, treachery and cosmic storms, asteroids, and murderous pirates are the least of their worries, for as soon as they discover if Nova is not returned to her home planet in time, her absence could rip open a black hole, destroying everything in its wake. Teetering on the brink of cosmic disaster, not only are their lives on line, but the fate of Nova's entire world. I'm so impressed with your experience across many genres and your work with such authors as Maggie Stiefvater and Jackson Pierce. Your passion for good storytelling drew me to you and your agency. Due to your interest in middle grade fantasy and exciting page-turners with rich world building, I think you might enjoy my 95,000-word manuscript, The Captain and the Boy, Beyond the Cosmic Horizon. I would welcome the opportunity to share the partial or full manuscript with you upon request. Thank you, Chelsea. Okay, so what do I think of The Captain and the Boy, Beyond the Cosmic Horizon? Well, I do remember the story, and what I remember about the story is the opening scene in which I think Ashley has some issues with kids at school. Perhaps they're making fun of him. I'm not sure. Let me take a drink of coffee. But I kind of remembered that, and so I kind of then remembered that he was in his house and he saw a light or something. Was that right? And he went out maybe in the middle of the night, and this was where the fantasy starts. And it was this old, kindly captain who wanted to kind of take him on board, or maybe the captain didn't, and Ashley insisted. Anyway, I'm remembering the opening, and so I was kind of expecting the opening to be reflected here a little bit, and in fact it isn't. What you did was you set us up with Ashley being not happy with the name Ashley, and then we never heard about it again, Chelsea. We never heard about the name. You shifted us into, in the second paragraph, into this adventure, and in which they meet Nova, and they also meet some bad guys too. And by the end of it, he and Nova are taking off. I don't know where the captain is, or how much of a role the captain plays in this boy's journey, because it looks like perhaps it stopped like at the end of the second paragraph. So, and then the other thing is, in the third paragraph, you say, well, this really isn't the story. The threat. The threat is really that Nova is going to, if she doesn't get returned to her universe or planet or wherever she's from, that the entire world is going to be in jeopardy, right? So now that's another story within the story of Ashley the boy who hates his name and takes off into a world of fantasy in order perhaps to cope with the fact that he is bullied at school, yes? So that's the story that really needs to be here in a hookable form so that then we know he's going to go on an adventure. But if this is a story about, thematically, if this is a story about a little boy who really is having a tough time with being bullied because of his name, then that's got to bleed through this query letter, because that really is going to catch the attention of a publisher. Oh, here's an author who is dealing with kids who are being profiled, right? And here's a story that shows how one little boy handled it. He became a superhero, or he became, he set across the world with this magical man, the captain, and they discovered all kinds of stuff, good stuff, but also scary stuff. So we can have all of that stuff about the cosmos and about them being sought after because of Nova. We can have all that, but boy, we've got to have that set up so that we know, in fact, what the story is about. And at this point, you open this story up with something, and then you kind of shift it to something else. And you don't bring it back up. You don't connect the bullying, the arc of the story in any way. You don't have to tell the ending, but we've got to know that we're dealing with a subject that's it's a very relevant subject, especially in this 21st century, where bullying is really being looked at. And I think teachers are definitely wanting fiction and nonfiction that will help kids find solutions to being bullied. So if that's this story, if in fact this story is about bullying, then we've got to keep that theme running through it. Does that make sense to you? And then I want to go to your last paragraph, because it's good to say that you know an agent, and that you're inspired by who this agent is representing, especially because it's middle grade fantasy, which is what you're writing. And that's cool. You take a full paragraph to do that, and at the expense of words that could be used to further develop a narrative arc of this story that an agent's going to say, oh gosh, this sounds good. I really want to read the first 3 chapters. The other thing that I want to tell you is that you're checking all these websites so that you know what agents are asking for in advance, right? Many agents will say send a query in the first 3 chapters, send a query in the first 50 pages, etc. So make sure that you're following that to the letter, because they get real ticked off when you don't. Remember, agents are reading query letters to reject them, not to accept them. So that's really what you're working against. Every piece of paper that they put in their hand, they're looking for, or their readers are looking for, something in it that will make them throw it away or put it in a maybe later pile. And you don't want to do that. And you don't want to do that when your query letter is not ready. And this one is not ready. So we can talk about story, because I think you probably need to. And here's why I really think you need to. Because this story is 95,000 words. That's 2 middle grade fantasy novels. Middle grade fantasy is about, I think it's 30 to 60. Is it 30 to 60,000 words? 30 to 50? It is not 95. In fact, first novels at 95 for adult will be, tossed aside mostly, unless it's really a compelling query letter, because 95,000 words is a heck of a lot of story for 10 to 13-year-olds to absorb. Remember who your audience is, Chelsea. It's little kids. They're middle grade kids. They're not young adult. They're middle grade. And so you've got to keep those novels short and sweet, because that's their attention span. And of course, what you're doing as a writer to this market is you're building up their desire to read, so that then they'll pick up another book of yours that comes maybe the second or third, and it's a little bit longer. But they've already read one or two of your books. They love you, so now they're going to read a 75,000 word manuscript, but they won't. And agents know this. So I think you've got a lot of editing to do before you go shopping for an agent. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news on this, but you know, the story reads convoluted. It doesn't read, I don't see much in here that hooks me except the name, you know, and the profiling. I think that's really cool. As I said to you in the workshop, and I meant it, I think that's hot stuff. So I know that you went and reworked this with some editor maybe, or a writing group, and so maybe we can talk about that a little bit too. I'm saying that this is almost 11 minutes and I want to stop it now, but you know that we can talk by phone after you've absorbed it. And let me see, I wrote notes, so let me make sure that so the length, query name, yeah. Oh, the other thing, last thing. In a query letter, you want to mention the protagonist's name, perhaps one other name, and that's it. And you've mentioned a lot of names, so you're asking a stranger to track a story that they don't know, and also characters in that story that they don't know. And what that usually amounts to is that they don't care, because there's too much thrown at them. So let's talk. I appreciate your business, and I want to help